This module, Impact for Communication Partners, is intended to provide a brief introduction and learning opportunity for CBE staff who are responsible, through their daily interactions, for impacting the language development and communication interactions of students with complex communication needs. What is the Impact program? Impact stands for Improving Partner Applications of Augmentative Communication Techniques. It is designed to teach communication partners to facilitate the early language and communication skills of children who use AAC. Impact was created by Jennifer Kent-Walsh and Kathy Binger based on the Instructional Program Guidelines developed by Kent-Walsh and McNaughton, 2005. In the Impact program, it all starts with a book that has been modified. The communication partner reads a modified book to the student. Book sharing or reading time happens every day in nearly every classroom. If it's not happening already, using an Impact book with a student is a great place to start. Here is an example of an Impact book. On this page, certain words of the book's text are underlined in different colors. After the text, a question has been added. Certain words in the question are also colored. The color of the underline or the question text matches the picture in the communication display. The matching of these colors is meant to help the adult find the pictures more quickly. The most important part about Impact books is that while the communication partner reads the story, the communication partner points to colored keywords on a communication display. That is, adults read the text and point to the pictures at the same time. Adults do not read the text and then point to the pictures. It is important that the text and pictures are referred to at the same time. Here is an example of the communication display that is used with Impact books. A communication display is an array of pictures that are used for communication. On this particular display, the colors orange, purple, yellow, green, pink, and blue are used. These same colors will be used to underline text in the Impact storybook. The picture background and the text match. This is for the benefit of the adult so that they know what words to point to and then where to find them on the communication display. Okay, let's see it in action. Here's a short demonstration video of Impact. This is a video showing Impact in action. I'm going to be reading the modified book Loose Tooth and using the communication display. It's loose, it's loose. My tooth is loose. Georgie, what is loose? Tooth. That's right. The tooth is loose. You will notice that I only pointed to the pictures that had a word underlined in the book. I did not point to any of the pictures on the previous page because they were not underlined. In summary, we are matching the colors. In each Impact book, there are keywords that are underlined in different colors. The same colors are used on the communication display. The color tells the communication partner or adult what colored section to find the key word on the communication display. After each color-coded sentence, there is a question. The question is also color-coded. Read the question out loud and point to the color-coded words on the communication display at the same time. Now that you've understood the purpose of color-coding words to the pictures in the communication display, it's time to look at how to use the Impact book with the student. There are 4 main steps: read, ask, answer, prompt. With each step, the adult points to the picture at the same time that they read the text. After each step, the adult pauses 5 to 10 seconds. This is to give our students the time they need to process the information we are presenting. Let's look at each step in a bit more detail. First, we read. Read the sentence. At the same time, point to the 2 pictures on the communication display that match the 2 words underlined in the sentence. Then we pause to give our student time to process, 5 to 10 seconds. Here is a short video on the read step.
Here is an example of me reading from an Impaact book and using the communication display at the same time. First, I will read and point to the pictures, and then I will wait for approximately 5 to 10 seconds so that I give my student time to process. My tooth is loose. You will notice in the book that tooth is depicted in the communication display and that the word is underlined in blue to help the adult find which section the word occurs in. Same thing with the word loose. Loose is in the book and is depicted by a picture and text on the communication display. It is also underlined in pink, so I know that it's in a pink section.
The next step is ask. Ask a question. With the Impaact book, the adult does not have to come up with a question in the moment. The question to ask is written right on the page. Having the question ready means a rhythm can be established. As well, adults often resort to a yes-no question format like, is that a tooth? Or use the question, what's that? Or just ask the student to identify pictures on the page. The variety of WH questions in the Impaact books is exposing the student to new question types and helping to further develop their language skills. Here's a short video demonstrating the ask step.
The next step in the wrap technique is ask. I'm going to ask a question. On every Impaact book, following the sentence, there is a question. Parts of the question are also color-coded. Any question word that is a WH word, like what or who or when, is always in orange, so I know which section to find the word in. Loose pops up again, pink, so I know where to find it. What is loose? I will then pause for 5 to 10 seconds.
The next step is answer. We have asked a question and are now expecting the student to answer a question. As students become familiar with the Impaact routine, they will come to learn that this is an expected time for them to talk, to respond. Too often in our classrooms, students follow routines and directions, but are not given a lot of time to respond. Many of our students will exhibit excellent listening behaviors, for example, body still, eyes are looking, etc., and will look like they are understanding. When we ask the question, now is our time to have a quick look as to whether or not they are actually understanding. There are 3 possible outcomes after we have asked a question of our student. First, the student may answer the question correctly using 1 or more pictures and/or words. Secondly, they may answer the question incorrectly using 1 or more pictures or words. Or number 3, there is no response. The first possibility was that the student answered the question correctly. The adult will praise and then expand their answer. For example, if the student answered using 1 picture, I would add a 2nd picture to their response. If the student answered using 2 pictures, I would add a 3rd picture to their response. For example, if they answered tooth, either by saying the word or pointing to the picture, I would say, good job, the tooth was wiggly. I would point to both tooth and wiggly on the communication display. I am now teaching the student how to add on to what they've said. Here's a short video showing what we could do when there is a correct answer.
Georgie, what is loose? Tooth. That's right. The tooth is loose.
Even if the answer was incorrect, I will still praise my student. The student attempted to answer and is understanding the impact process. I can show them the correct answer now using 2 pictures. I am now teaching the student. I am not testing them. At no time am I keeping track of a student's correct or incorrect responses. That is not the purpose of Impaact. Instead, I am supporting the student's language development using pictures and also developing my own skills. My skills of using pictures to support communication and language development. Remember, we are building skills for both the student and the adult, not testing our student. Here is a short video showing what to do if a student gives an incorrect answer.
This video shows me prompting a student after an incorrect answer is given. Dory remembers her mum and dad. Who does Dory remember? That's where. Home is where Dory remembers. I want to know, who does Dory remember? Mum and dad. Yes. Dory remembers her mum and dad. Nice work.
Often, in the beginning, no response is a common response for our students. There could be many reasons the student is not saying or pointing to anything. However, a no response does not mean that the impact process isn't working or appropriate for the student. Often, we need to give our students lots of time with multiple readings of a book before a no response turns into any kind of response. Be patient with the student and also yourself. When there is no response, show the student the answer after you've given them adequate pause time. Remember, we are building language. Then you can prompt them. You can prompt them to try again, try like me, your turn, help me to. Here's a short video showing what to do when a student does not give a response.
This video will show me prompting a student to respond after I've asked a question. Dory is a blue fish who lives in the sea. What is Dory? I've waited for my student to respond. So now I'm going to give them a prompt. In this case, I'm going to use an indirect verbal prompt. Georgie, your turn. What is Dory? Yeah, that's right. Dory is a blue fish.
What if, after giving the student adequate pause time, there is still no response? Well, you can move on to the next page. And remember that many students require many readings of the same book before they even make an attempt at pointing or looking at a picture. And that's okay. If you are finding the student has lost interest, finish the page you are on. Choose a different activity. The next time you read the book, start at the beginning of the book. Always start at the beginning of the book. This allows for increased repetition of the story so that the student can begin to process the story. Make it easy on yourself. Learn the RAP steps. Memorize RAP. It will make using Impaact much easier. Read and point, pause. Ask and point, pause. Answer and point, pause. Prompt, pause. Remember, The adult points at the same time as they read, ask, or answer. After every step, we always pause before going to the next step to give our students time to process the information. You can pause the video here. Say the RAP steps over and over to yourself until it is easy to remember. It may be helpful to write them down a few times. One more video of Impaact in action. Note how I will pause after each modeled sentence or question to give my student time to process and respond. Notice how I will point to the picture and read the underlined words at the same time. Notice how my response changes depending on what the student does. I might prompt them to participate. I might help shape their response. I might add to the response. I try to be encouraging throughout.
Here is an example of me reading a few more pages just so that you can all see the flow of modeling and reading at the same time. Dory is a blue fish who lives in the sea. What is Dory? Yeah, Dory is a blue fish. Marlin and Nemo are orange fish. Dory remembers her mom and dad. Who does Dory remember? That's where. That's at home is where Dory remembers. I want to know who Dory remembers. Absolutely, that is who. Dory remembers her mom and dad. That's who she remembers. They are blue like Dory. Dory swims into the deep, dark ocean. She wants to find her mom and dad. Who does Dory want to find? Georgie, it's your turn. Who does Dory want to find? Mom and Dad, absolutely. Dory wants to find her mom and dad. Dory meets Hank. He is red. What color is Hank? Absolutely. Hank is red.
Now that you know the Impaact process, you may be very excited to find out where to get these books. Pre-made books with accompanying communication displays can be borrowed for short-term loans through your speech-language pathologist for your CBE classroom. The next two slides show a list of books that are available for short-term loan from your classroom speech-language pathologist for your CBE classroom. Here is the list of pre-made books continued. If you would like Impaact books to use for your classroom on a long-term basis, you will need to modify the books yourself. Materials, however, including the communication displays, vocabulary lists, questions, etc., are all available for download and printing. Use the above instructions on this slide. You or your classroom or school will need to purchase or source the books, as we do not provide the books. Before trying Impaact with a student, it helps to practice with a partner. One will act as the communication partner while the other adult acts as a student. Read, ask, answer, and prompt. The student, for the practice session, should also provide feedback to the communication partner regarding the reading. Did they read too fast? Did they remember to pause? What kind of prompts were helpful? And then switch roles. It is very important to familiarize yourself with the picture vocabulary and where it is located on the communication display. Here are some helpful hints. To begin with, try it with only one student at a time. The student and adult should use the same overlay so that the student is looking at the adult's modeling. Do not worry about changes of verb tense, example past tense or present progressive, or word function. The same symbol is used. For example, go is modeled for go, going and went. Hug is modeled for hugging, hugged, a hug. Do not force a student to sit through a book once their attention has wandered. Start at the beginning of the book next time. Know the contents of the communication display very well. It's important to keep the flow of story and turn-taking going. If a student doesn't seem interested, continue to present the story on multiple days. Many students need multiple presentations to facilitate comprehension and participation. That being said, try and choose books that will be of interest to the student. And above all, have fun. Enjoy the reading. This is the end of the Impaact module. Thank you.